this one seemingly unexplored idea from the 1940s changed the way I saw my world. Maybe it'll change the way you see yours. Tolerance has long been a pinnacle of our society. It is the foundation behind our right to freedom of speech and expression. And without it, we merely suppress all thinking that does not agree with our own. Do you truly respect everything the person sitting next to you might think? Every ultra-conservative or radical train of thought? We pat ourselves on our backs on being secular and understanding, on being the cornerstones of our ideals of humanity. So why are we all such terrible creatures of influence? Karl Popper was a philosopher that put forward the paradox I want to discuss today. He termed it the paradox of tolerance. Essentially, he stated that in order to maintain a tolerant society, the society must be intolerant of intolerance. That if we extend unlimited tolerance, even to those who are intolerant, and if we are not prepared to defend our tolerant society against the intolerant, the tolerant will be destroyed, and their tolerance with them. Essentially, we as a society cannot have our cake and eat it too. We can either choose to stay tolerant, living in fear that one day that privilege will be taken away from us. Right, so we can either choose to stay tolerant, living in fear that one day that privilege will be taken away from us, or we can exist loudly and only remain tolerant to those who return the favor. This is where we play God. We try to, at least. Because what really sets us apart from the intolerant? And I say this doubtfully, because you will most likely view yourself in the best light. So, where do you fall? Where does your family, your friends, your school, or your business? Do they share the same views as you, and are they tolerant because of it? Or do they disagree, and is that what makes them intolerant? Are you tolerant? Am I not? The answer here isn't about you or me, but about us. All of us. Each and every one of us here, we are as intolerant as can be. Some to violence, and some to veganism. We cannot be convinced otherwise, and that is the reality of it. And this is where we define ourselves, as individuals, as partners, as family, and as friends. And we are only becoming more and more comfortable in our roles as the intolerant, mostly through no fault of our own. We're only seeing what suits us. Where are we heading as a society? Are we opening our eyes to more ideas, or just closing them to the ones we don't agree with? For those of you who don't understand what I'm saying, which is okay, because I've said a lot, here's an example. So let's say that our country votes a very, very loony president into power. And, oh boy, this guy could give Donald Duck a run for his money. The president and their supporters, they are mean and disrespectful about a lot of important issues. Because of this, they change a lot of important policy. Now, the general public, in this example, the tolerant, they don't revolt. They do not do anything because they respect the president's opinions. They respect their supporters because that is what they do as the tolerant. One day, they wake up to realize that they can't revolt anymore. Why? Because the president said so. In this example, tolerance was taken away from the tolerant because they couldn't be intolerant towards the intolerant. So, also question why they were tolerant and question why the other side was intolerant. We have a question panel coming up later, so. The paradox is as is, and I agree. How can we remain tolerant of issues that degrade our collective existence? Well, we start with reminding ourselves that views other than ours exist. when we feel the rise of a crowd, of an intolerant crowd, we subject them to a jury that consists of public opinion. We must keep them in check, as Popper said, using rationality and public opinion. Because as the tolerant, we protect, but we also respect. And we must do exactly that, protect and defend our beliefs from those that do not believe the same. As long as we can do that, there is no need to suppress an entire crowd of people. If we can educate the masses, and if we can inform them, then the problem will cease to exist. I hope you all go home today and realize there is more to the world than the thoughts that you think every day. That maybe with all this thinking that we do about what is right and what is wrong, we are missing the biggest picture there is. That there is more to this than right or wrong. So question it all. Tell yourself why it all makes sense to you. Start there. And when you realize that what you think is not gospel, but merely fact that agrees with you, be sure that it is irrefutable fact. And when you realize that there is no further you can go, because that is the beauty of this. It is a paradox, like in